following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
We are back. A's Baseball, past, present, future. I'm Ralph Tycho with the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. We have the host of the show, the man himself, Jerry Feidelberg. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Ralph. Thank you. I seem to have survived the holidays in one piece, sort of. And coming along. It's always good to be on the radio with you.
Good. Always good to have you. Comfortably Zoned is built around the likes of the Jerry Feidelbergs. People with passion who have opinions without being opinionated. And so, therefore, you fit right in, my friend. And on a personal basis, you've been recovering from some, let's hope, minor leg problems, and you're getting better.
Yeah, it was an infection in my lower leg, and it's getting better. So
good.
I was hobbled around for the holidays, but did the best I could. Starting to get better. You
missed a trip to Mendocino, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we were supposed to go yesterday, but I went to see two doctors, and we're working on getting better.
Good. Keep doing that. Jerry, we're talking a little A's baseball, and you were very, very disappointed when the A's failed to sign your catcher. You were Nostradamus last year. Tell us how that got started and what led to this. This was not good for A's fans.
No, it's not. And I think Jonathan LaCroix, he only hit about 241 for the season last year. But his presence, he played in 125 games. He caught the most innings of any catcher in the American League, over 1,000 innings last year. So his presence was felt. And when he works, the ERA of the staff went down. He was very, very good with pitchers. And I just could not believe, and he signed for a relatively small amount with the Angels. He earned $6 million last year, and he signed for $3 million for a one-year contract with the Angels. I think that the uncertainty with the A's, not knowing whether the A's wanted to give him a one-year contract or give him a two-year contract, led to his taking the offer that came up with the Angels. You know, he wanted some security for his family. Now, $3 million is not $6 million, but the A's certainly could afford it. They've got so many players at the big league minimum that they could afford a veteran like him. They haven't done anything really in the free agent market this year, so it seems kind of strange that they let him walk and not even attempt to bring him back.
Let us remind everybody out there that we're talking about monopoly money here. Because, as you say, he wanted some security for his family. How much did he make last year?
He made $6 million.
$6 million. Right.
Yeah, $6 million. Yeah,
and he signs for $3 million. Is this security for not only his family but his grandson's family at this point?
I don't know. He's been, he's been a major leaguer for several years now. He's been an all-star in 2014, 2016. He was fourth in the
making
MVP.
Upwards of $1 million a year.
Yeah, he was. He was making good money.
I stop to marvel at that sometimes.
Yeah, well,
he wanted some security for his family. Well,
yeah. But you and I would be thrilled to make if we could make $500,000 a year or $250,000 a year. It would be big money. But
Jerry,
you'd
be you're modest. You'd be taking a pay cut.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. But but
you do it magnanimously to do a little podcast radio because you love the A's and you love Comfortably Zoned Radio Network.
Oh yeah, so you can't beat the pay.
Right. No, you can't. No way. It's insurmountable. Hey, well, earn your money, young man. So we talked off the air a little bit because there is some production involved, and there's another catcher on the horizon. Because let's face it, the A's are going to do what they've done. What do they call it? Churning and with Matt Holliday, with a whole bunch of different players over the years.
I cannot.
It's going to go on. Might as well do it with the skill and technique that Billy Beane uses, because he always manages to win. If not win literally, get more for the buck than any other general manager ever would. So every time we talk about the A's doing what fans hate, which is that build them up, get them ready, make them all-stars, sell them off. He's going to do that with Chapman. He's going to do that with everybody that comes along. But, as long as he's doing it, and, if you follow a team, you root for him. It's the way it is.
The fans hate it. The fans,
absolutely. But let's hope that he gets more from catching than the Angels do next year. So now, who's the young catcher on the horizon?
Well, they got this guy Herman coming. I don't know where Herman came from, and they got Josh Begley, and I don't think either one of those they're backup catchers. I don't know. They supposedly have a prospect in the minor leagues that they're looking forward to bringing up, maybe not this year, but next year. So they might need just a stopgap for 1 year. But there are 3 or 4 guys out there, catchers that the A's could use. But they're kind of retreads. You have Matt Wieters as a free agent from the Washington Nationals. He was much better when he was younger, but he's at the tail end of his career. Same thing with Chris Stewart. He's available. But the one guy that is available I think would be a good fit for the Oakland would be Martin Maldonado. Maldonado was with the Angels, and then he got traded to the Astros, and he's a free agent. And I think he would be a good fit for the A's. Of course, I don't know what they're looking for or what they want to pay. We know that they don't want to pay anything. And they're very, they just do things. For example, they traded for Jurickson Profar for their second baseman. Profar was a hot prospect with the Rangers for several years ago. Then he got hurt, and then he couldn't crack the lineup because they had Rougned Odor at second base for the Rangers, and Elvis Andrus was their shortstop. And Profar couldn't crack the lineup. He got to play if someone got hurt. But last year he had a very productive year. He hit 20 home runs, so he's got some pop in his bat. And the A's had to deal with the free agency of Jed Lowry. And Lowry, as you know, had 2 very good years. He was a doubles machine, and he knocked in 99 runs last year. And he fielded his position very well, didn't make very many errors. And you would think, I know he's going into his age, 34, 35, but I thought he would be worth the A's investing a 2-year contract. It may have cost them a little bit of money, probably $8 or $9 million a year, but they chose not to do that. So Lowry, for all intents and purposes, is not coming back to the A's, which is sad because he was a pretty good hitter. But that's the way they run the ball club, and I can tell you that they've had in the past several years they hired 3 guys and they paid them $10 million a year, and they were all busts. They got Ben Sheets, the pitcher, and he didn't perform. They got another pitcher, Jim Johnson, and reliever, and he got lit up every time he went out to the mound, and he didn't perform. and they had Billy Butler as the DH, and he was a singles hitter, and they're paying him $10 million a year, and they let him go at the end of his second year, and they had to eat the contract for the third year. They just didn't want him around. So they're very hesitant.
That was a strange signing.
Yeah, it was.
I think that was Billy Ball type signing.
Yeah. So there are people around. Yeah, there are people around, but the A's are not going to pay them. They're just not going to pay them. And they're what they're doing is so bizarre. They don't even have a radio station for next year. We discussed this a couple of weeks ago. And here it is, the 1st of January. Spring training games are going to start in February. They open the season in Japan on March 21st and 22nd. And where the game's going to be heard, no one knows.
I know the commissioner will step in with something. They will be forced to get a radio station, to have a radio station. That is not big leagues. We're talking about a $1 billion industry. We are talking about the 4th largest market in baseball, or 5th,
right,
whatever it is. I mean, this is bull. We're talking about an owner who has more money than whoever has the most money.
Yeah, he's probably got more money than Trump.
Yeah, at this point, he does, and a lot less service.
That's for sure.
That's for damn sure. For those of you out there, service means trouble in the deepest sense, and that's what Mr. Trump is going through at this point. But he's putting this country through trouble at the deepest sense. To all of the 800,000, get that, 800,000, damn near 1 million government workers who are down and working and not getting paid, living paycheck to paycheck as I do. How terrible is that? Is that disgraceful? My hat's off to you people for not taking it to the streets and doing now what eventually is going to have to be done. There's got to be some sort of coup. Amendment 25. He can't go on doing this, can he? Getting off the subject of baseball.
Well, in today's news, he said he'll keep the government shut down for weeks, months, and even a year if he doesn't get his way about the wall.
And I'm sure these government workers will just cheerily go to work like the seven dwarfs whistling as they work or whatever it is. They're off to work for at least a year before they say, we're going to work every day and we're not getting paid. Something's wrong with this.
Yeah, right? Like their landlords are going to carry them, right? That's
absolutely. In exchange for some painting or dusting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, after a hard day's work, come home. You're in the working hard for the government. You're putting up with whatever it is that people put up with when they work for an institution, and we know what that must be like. And then you come home and there's no rent money because, honey, the check didn't get here and we can't pay the rent. The landlord was here with a 5-day notice. Honey, you're going to have to dust.
Yeah. And he thinks they're all Democrats. He doesn't know what their political persuasion is, but he thinks they're all Democrats.
Absolutely. The government people that are working for the government of the United States of America, not against it. They happen to be working for this government, not Russia.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're at odds.
It's sad, and the public is suffering too, because they shut down the Justice Department. You can't get any criminal cases going in the courts. You have trials going on.
Oh, and that includes criminal cases against him.
Sure, absolutely. You got the national parks. There's trash piling up at the parks. Nobody to pick up the trash. They have all kinds of things that are stop projects that are in the works and stuff that has to be done, but it won't get done because this guy is a megalomaniac. He really is.
Right. And he upstaged the inauguration, or I guess it is an inauguration of the new, he upstaged that the other day. Congress was being inaugurated, and he just comes out with these silly Parks Department people, not Parks Department, but Border Patrol people.
Oh, yeah.
They line up and they shave their heads, and I don't know what the hell they did. And he comes out just to get on television. This is a crazy man. This is a nutcase. And I hope this is being recorded, young man. Craziness.
Well, we'll have to see what happens with the Mueller report, because they're saying it should be done in February. So we'll see.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was ever a date on it. I thought it was an open-ended thing.
It is, but the people or the pundits are speculating that it's going to be February.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, it may be soon. I would hope it would be sooner, and I would hope they blow away the Senate, because there are a few Republican senators who are starting to fall, so to speak.
Yeah, they're running for re-election in 2020, and Cory Gardner is one from Colorado, and he could be voted out, and Susan Collins up in Maine. Maine used to be rock-ribbed Republican, but over time, a lot of the people from Massachusetts, the libs from Massachusetts and New York, have moved up to Maine, bought homes or second homes up there, and live up there. And the voting patterns have changed, just like they did in Orange County in California.
Right. He does not know what to do, as I see it. I think he knows the walls are caving in. I've been reading that he will resign in return for a deal for his family.
That's possible. Yeah, that's possible, but that's speculation too. No one really knows.
Now, you've seen a lot of people in your life. You've dealt with them on all different types of level. You were in the service yourself. Do you think a man with that type of ego could do something like that?
Sure. Oh, yeah. He's very dangerous. He certainly could.
No, he could resign and make a deal for his family. Do you think he has too much pride for that?
Oh, that's a good question. He always likes to win. He does not like to, quote, lose. He's very, very pig-headed. When he gets these things in his head, just like he thinks that he says he's a tariff man, and the tariffs are causing the stock market to tank. So, and he blames other people for what he does. It's never him. He'll never take. He's not a Harry Truman, where Harry said the buck stops here. With him, he blames other people for his mistakes. And the way he treated General Mattis resigned, and then he fired him. And then he came out with all this, what did he ever do for me? He did a lot. He was the Secretary of Defense. He did a lot for this country. And to be demeaned by him is unconscionable.
And then he used the words, well, I essentially fired him.
Right.
Essentially. No, you didn't essentially fire him. You set it up so that he would resign. But that's not essentially firing him.
No. No.
There's a difference. I mean, I know he's thinking, well, I wouldn't listen to him, so he quit, and that's good riddance to him. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's not firing him.
Well,
essentially firing him.
Yeah, if the Mueller investigation shows that in fact there's obstruction of justice, that and lying to the FBI, those, well, he wasn't sworn to. He may have lied to the FBI, to James Comey or whomever. But if it proves that there is obstruction of justice, that's a felony, and he could be indicted, and it's a possibility he could be indicted as a sitting president.
Well, you know what? That was checkmate. As soon as he fired Comey, checkmate.
Mm-hmm.
He's investigating him.
Yeah, exactly.
Checkmate. I don't understand how they didn't come in and why they haven't come in with, what do they call it, Amendment 25, when a president is bonkers? This guy's bonkers.
Who's going to do it?
Pence.
I don't know.
And there are people inside the White House. You read the book, Fear?
Yep.
You know that it's disarray, and it should have been time. Nobody has the balls to do it, and the Republican Senate up till now, the last few days, there's been changes, but they've put up with this for 2 years. This is crazy.
Yeah, the Republican Senate, Mitch McConnell, have been complicit.
No question. He should be serving time in an orange jumpsuit as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I hope things change. We'll see what happens as things go along. But anyway.
Hey, I'm still hoping they get Bush and Cheney for war crimes.
Well, going.
So,
I was opposed totally going into Iraq. Old man Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush, who passed away, and Cheney was with him as he was the Secretary of Defense, I believe. In the first Gulf War, they did not go into Baghdad because they knew that the serious divisions between the Sunnis and the Shias, it was going to be a very, very difficult situation. Somehow, it got twisted around in 2003 when they decided to go into Iraq and to avenge Saddam Hussein, who put out a contract on Old Man Bush, which of course never happened. But they also tied Iraq to Al Qaeda, which was also total baloney. Never happened. There was no way Saddam Hussein would deal with Al Qaeda, but they used that as a rationale. They lied to the American people, and we went into Iraq. We lost 5,000 soldiers, and how many wounded in Iraq? Just unbelievable.
Or how many came back, and the veterans don't take care of them, and they're homeless.
Right.
The PTSD or whatever the hell it's called, and they don't accept treatment. Cannabis. It's just horrible. Absolutely disgraceful. And guess what? I was just going to say that Bush wasn't the first Bush. Prescott Bush, his dad, and Bush Jr.'s grandfather was a friend of Hitler's.
Did they? Sure.
Playing both ends down against the middle before World War II.
Oh yeah.
Along with Joseph Kennedy and the rest.
Yeah, Prescott Bush wasn't the only one. I think Charles Lindbergh was a Nazi sympathizer. Joe Kennedy may have been leaning that way, to make peace with Hitler, not get involved. Who knows? But people write history books about that stuff. But the thing is, we did go in. One of the things that really bothers me is that they all say we want to support the troops, but that's baloney too, because when the troops get hurt, the guys can't get treatment at the VAs, or they have to travel long distance to the VAs. They have long waits to get service. And they're just the forgotten people. These guys go out and get their arms shot off or their legs blown off, and they have to come back, and they don't get the support from the government, or the government cuts the funding for the VA. And you know now with the $1.5 trillion giveaway, a tax giveaway to the rich, now they're saying, well, the only way we can, we can't borrow any more money, so we got to pay it down. And the only way we can do it is we got to cut the payments to the VA, cut the payments to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. That's how we're going to pay for it. So that was their game plan. And so, it's just something that the public has to know and be aware of. And don't listen to the "we're going to make America great again" and "we love your jobs." No, they don't. They don't care. They really don't care. They care about the coal miners, owners of the coal mines making money, the owners of the big steel companies making money, but they really don't care about the workers.
Well, that says it so succinctly, Jerry. I can't tell you. You put my thoughts in order, and I appreciate that. Let's close out on some baseball. How is the pitching staff recovering from that rash of Tommy John and disablement that went on in 2018, which made their finish all the more miraculous? And
they lost Trevor Cahill to the Angels. He gave them some innings. He pitched better at the Coliseum, but not very well on the road. Brett Anderson is still a free agent. They might sign him. Mike Fiers, they got on a 2-year deal. He's back. They haven't signed Edwin Jackson. So they will be getting. They got this lefty, I think his name is Luzardo, left-hand prospect who's supposed to be pretty good. He'll be coming up. In the meantime, the guys that had the surgery, Jarrell Cotton, who had it in spring training, it takes 12 to 14 months before he can come back. So he might be back during the season. Daniel Gossett might be coming back. Andrew Triggs, who had injuries, will be coming back. He didn't have shoulder surgery. Kendall Graveman is no longer with the organization. He was not tendered a contract, and I don't think he signed with Toronto, but he signed with some club. I can't remember which one. And Sean Manaea might be back later in the season. He has a shoulder injury. So,
how bad is the shoulder injury? That wasn't Tommy John.
No, shoulder injuries sometimes take longer. Tommy John, the recovery from the Tommy John surgeries has been pretty amazing for a lot of the pitchers. They come back and Nathan Eovaldi for the Red Sox. He was throwing 100 miles an hour, and he's had 2 Tommy Johns, so he's recovered nicely from those 2. But shoulder injuries can take much longer. Pitchers may not have the velocity when they come back like they do with Tommy John. So we have to wait and see what happens with Manaea. I'd like him to come back. He's a very, very reliable pitcher when he's on. He's a good pitcher. So that would be helpful.
How about Magadan?
Daniel Mengden, he had some injuries during the season, but he made it through the season. He's maybe a spot starter or a reliever. Sometimes he's okay. He's not as consistent as I'd like him to be, but he can give him some innings. He'll be okay. But they don't have a real ace. They don't have. They don't have anyone like Chris Sale. They don't have anyone like Jacob deGrom. They don't have a Noah Syndergaard. They don't have guys that can go out and win for you. But they got what they look for is the bargain basement type of guy they see who is undervalued or who has hasn't had an opportunity, and the A's see something in him that they can do, and they get him on the cheap, and hopefully, and the guy, why the guys come to play for the A's is because it gives them an opportunity to play. They may not have that with the Tigers or the Yankees or the Indians, but Oakland,
Prove
they
themselves
know
a
that they're
little
going.
bit. It's not a bad
Yeah,
climate. That's for damn sure.
yeah, oh yeah.
Although
It's a
the cost of
pot.
living is, I don't even think they think about the cost of living. They start out the minimum salary is $500,000.
Oh, it's more than that. It's
So they're not
550.
thinking about the cost of living so much.
No, they can
They
afford
all,
the price.
like you say,
They can,
chance to, take that step to signing the next multi-year contract somewhere.
yeah. Oh yeah. And if it works out, it's great. But the A's aren't going to pay anybody under the current regime. They just aren't going to do it. And I know the fans are very knowledgeable. They know what's going on. And they're not willing to spend their hard-earned bucks on a team that's not going to put a winning team on the field or try to. They got lucky last year. No one picked them to win. I think before the season I said they could win 82 games, but no one expected them to win 97 games. And they did it with smoke and mirrors because their starting rotation was all beat up. They really did a super job. Bob Melvin did a fantastic job of manipulating.
As did Billy Beane getting or
yeah.
not Billy Beane so much, isn't it David Frost?
David Forrest, yeah. They made that trade for the center fielder, Laureano. And
that was a beautiful trade.
Oh, good move. They got him for nothing from the Houston Astros, and he's going to be a fixture in center field for a long time. He had good offense, tremendous defense. They got Stephen Piscotty in right field, and of course, if Piscotty becomes a free agent, they probably will let him go or trade him. Just
I think that's going to be. I don't ever see Piscotty leaving. He's the kind of guy, what he went through with his mom, soul, the way the fans took to him, I don't think they're stupid. I think they're dumb, but not stupid. You know what I'm saying? They'll keep him.
Yeah.
And he's the kind of guy, it seems, he'll give him, all right, you'd like to think. I'd like to think he'd give him a hometown discount, that kind of thing. I just can't picture them losing him. Could very well happen. I'm Pollyanna from way back.
Yeah, I've seen too many guys get traded. You go back to Nick Swisher and then Tim Hudson and Zito left as a free agent. Mark Mulder. They're all gone. They all performed and they all won. The shortstop, Miguel Tejada. Jason Giambi. They had players.
Oh, yeah.
Eric Chavez.
Swisher. Did you mention him?
Yeah, Swisher. They had players, and they all went. And it's sad because you can't. In 2006, the A's with Swisher and the Big Hurt, Frank Thomas, they made it past the first round of the playoffs. It's the only time. And Billy Beane's, since he's been general manager or whatever he is since 1998 when he took over as general manager, that was the only time they got past the first round in the playoffs. Once. And then they got swept by the Tigers. But
hey, Jerry, last year you were Nostradamus. I'm going to take over this year. All right? I think the A's are going to get Eric Gray back.
Sonny Gray?
Yeah. Eric Gray.
Yes.
Where did I say that? Where'd that come from?
It depends what they want to give the Yankees.
I think they can get him. He's very inexpensively. They can get something.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know what his stock.
He's probably he broke in 2013. So
that's
this would
success. Went to the playoffs with the A's.
Yeah, he did.
Still young.
He did. He's still young. He's 28 or 29. And he could give them innings. He likes to pitch in Oakland. The question is, what are the A's willing to give up for him? And are they willing to pick up a contract that's good for $8 or $9 million a year for a pitcher? And
now that's a good question. Whenever it comes to what could they spend, there's no getting inside their heads.
Yeah,
And
no.
they don't seem to have the idea that you spend some money, you make some money. You win, you get fan interest, you increase attendance, you increase the ball cap sales, the jackets, the sweaters, you know what I'm saying? It's
Sure.
and sometimes you got to spend. You're in business. You got to spend money to make money.
You got it. Our friend Yoenis Cespedes, who was traded in 2014, which unraveled the year for the A's. They traded him to Boston, then he went to Detroit, and then from Detroit he went to the Mets. And when he got to the Mets in 2015, they went to the World Series, and he posed the question. He said, "I don't understand the A's. Don't they want to win? Don't they want to win?" And you begin to wonder, they're just showing up. And I know you got to make money in baseball because you got to pay the players. But you mentioned when you start winning brings in fans, and there's more people at the ballpark. More people watch the games on TV. They sell more merchandise. So why wouldn't you want a winning team? But for whatever reason, it's the same old story.
It amazes me, and I think this is where baseball has to come in and say, should have get off the pot. You know, you have a great market. Use it. Which reminds me of the stadium issue. You want to delve into that a little bit, or there really hasn't been much change?
There's not much to discuss on the stadium. They still have to purchase the land from the Port of Oakland, and they probably are in negotiations. But if they can't buy the land, how are they going to build the terminal? Then they have the environmental impact reports that have to be done. They have a design for the stadium, which is wonderful, but they still don't have the land, and there are also problems with parking, with transportation, all kinds of things that have to be worked out before they go to the stadium.
I think the eventuality, and you and I agreed last time we talked, is that they're going to go back to the old locale. Will that design fit in the old locale?
Well, I would imagine so. I don't know for sure, but
they could be on their way.
But there's no reason why they can't build a ballpark, in the parking lot adjacent to where it is now, and then when it's built, they'll tear down the old Coliseum.
We both agree.
The only way a ballpark is going to make it is if the team is good, and we use the example in Miami. The Miami has the worst attendance in all of baseball. They built a brand new stadium where the old Orange Bowl used to sit in Miami. In the first year, people came to see it, and they had some players. They had Yelich, they had Osuna, they had Giancarlo Stanton, and then when the new ownership came in, they got rid of those three people. Last year, the team didn't do well, and they had the worst attendance in the league. And Miami and Tampa are tough sells for baseball. You have the people that come down.
Oakland and Miami mirror each other, that they build good teams, sell off the players, and dupe the fans. It's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy. I'll tell you. Hey, Jerry, great talk again. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. And we'll be back very, very soon.
Yeah, and when I get better, when my leg gets better, I'll come up to Alameda. We'll have our luncheon with Nancy and her husband and Morgan and Michael Duca and maybe his wife Kelly, and I will come up and we'll have a nice time discussing.
What a day!
Baseball.
We'll knock them on their ear. I got my tux already.
Baseball, politics, and life. How's that?
All right. Sounds good to me, my friend. Please keep recuperating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got my leg elevator right now. So
all right.
It's coming on.
I'm going to put one of my legs up for a few minutes in your honor.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Be well.
All right.
Adios.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. A's Baseball, past, present, future. I'm Ralph Tycho, the weak link of it all. Adios.
Bye-bye.
The proceeding was a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production. Thank you for listening.